Let's bring on Michael Knowles. Wait, aren't you the star of Another Kingdom?
Stop it. Okay, you're going to make me blush if I weren't so dark.
Oh, you must get this all the time. This must happen to you all the time.
Walking up and down Sunset Boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard this week in a bathrobe. I got to get the people off of me, absolutely.
We were a bestseller on the arts list this week. I was like absolutely stunned. It's been great.
Yeah. Well, I'm really stunned because, not to just directly insult all of our friends and family and audience, but conservatives usually are Philistines on the culture.
Yeah.
They don't, we don't read,
yeah.
even myself, I don't read a lot of fiction books. I don't read nearly as much as I should. And I just read history or philosophy or whatever. And the story's doing great. We've got hundreds of reviews up there, mostly 5-star. Some jerk like Rachel Maddow or something gave us one bad review. But yeah,
they're almost all 5 stars.
They've been all 5 stars, literally with one exception. I think it's the guy who wrote the Democrat blank book. I think it's the one who. I think it's just that he's got a grudge. He's going to get us.
But the reviews of your performance are spectacular. I'm telling you, stick with me, kid. I will make you a star.
It is really funny when people ask me, like, how do you get into Hollywood? I've auditioned. I've done these indie movies and plays in New York and L.A. But no, not that. What you need to do is go directly for conservative media. Go to right-wing punditry, and that's how you break into show business.
We're killing them. We're killing them. Another Kingdom. Subscribe on iTunes, right? That's what we need people to do.
Subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play, and if you can, leave a review.
Yeah.
That does really help. And it's great because Hollywood is just in rubble. Every one of these awful edifices that the left has just inhabited and destroyed is laying on the ground. And now conservative art and culture gets to come in, and they can't stop us anymore.
We're picking them off like the flies they are. That's right. So I've been complaining about the press, and not just the press. I mean, the Democrats and all this trying to create this conspiracy, but Donald Trump is promising to release, or saying he will release, the last of the JFK papers, another left-wing conspiracy that is not what people think it is. Is that fair to say?
We have 3 days. October 26th is the deadline. We're going to learn the truth. This is based on a 1992 law that sought to quell some of these conspiracy theories. Obviously, we know what happened. The Warren Commission concluded it was Ted Cruz's father. He was the second gunman. I don't think there are any questions anymore. We'll learn it when it comes out.
Exactly. The Kenya connection is a little shady still, but
But there are. The day after the assassination, there was a front page story on the New York Times which blamed, quote, this was by James Reston, it blamed, quote, the streak of violence in the American character. It said the violence of the extremists on the right, right? They're talking about this climate of hate. And we know what happened. A communist killed an anti-communist.
That's basically it, right? I mean, he was a staunch, JFK was a staunch Cold Warrior.
He was. I wish we don't have the clip, but I mean, there were actually too many clips to play.
Yeah.
We know that he said that they'll bear any burden, pay any price for liberty. He goes to Berlin and openly mocks the Soviet Union and says, we stand with you, we stand for liberty. He might have called himself a jelly donut. I'll leave that to the linguists. And he predicted, this guy was so, by modern standards, conservative and Republican. He called for tax cuts to stimulate the economy and to add more revenue to the government. So he actually predicted the Laffer curve and Reaganomics about 2 decades before they went into practice.
It is amazing, and when you listen to his speeches today, he sounds like Donald Trump. I mean, a lot classier than Donald Trump. He was a lot more articulate than Trump.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I saw the Access Hollywood tape, but I've read some of those FBI files on JFK.
Yeah, he was not well behaved. That is true.
Not a well-behaved guy.
Not a well-behaved. But and Lee Harvey Oswald was a communist. Right?
Here's what we know about Oswald. This is, when you read it's almost amazing that any conspiracy theory could crop up. We know that Oswald went in October 1959, he went to the Soviet Union. He asked to become a Soviet citizen. He went to the embassy there. He begged to become a citizen. Every Soviet guide that he talked to, he said he wanted to renounce his American citizenship, become a Soviet. It became a major headline, actually, because a former U.S. Marine tried to defect to the Soviet Union. We know that he attempted to kill U.S. Major General Edwin Walker. We know this from his widow. We know that he did that because Walker was a member of the John Birch Society. He was an outspoken anti-communist. He was clearly on the right. And we know that weeks before the JFK assassination, Oswald took a 6-day trip to Mexico where he met with Soviet and Cuban officials, and we know that the CIA had him under pretty significant surveillance. FBI documents suggest he spoke openly about wanting to kill Kennedy. That's what we know.
And I mean, the whole conspiracy is invented out of whole. It's kind of like the truther stuff about the 9/11. Basically, it's because people couldn't accept the fact that Islamism was really as bad as it was. They couldn't accept that the communism that they had basically supported. I mean, because remember, a lot of these left-wing journalists were communists before they kind of caught on, and they were still mollycoddling the Soviet Union and saying that anybody who saw that there were communists in the State Department was a McCarthyite and all this stuff. They got caught, basically. They got caught. Their hero president was killed by one of the guys they kind of thought were okay.
It's like the principle of cognitive dissonance. They, when there's a discrepancy between your thought and your behavior, between the facts that you're presented and the behavior that you want to enact, you have to just convince yourself that the facts are wrong.
Yeah.
So they're obviously openly somewhat supportive of communism or supportive of Islam. They don't want to acknowledge a problem. So they have to convince themselves of these absurd stories, stories that just simply can't hold together because of the sheer number of people that would have had to have been involved. There's the famous Oliver Stone movie about JFK.
Yeah.
What's the story? A communist kills an ardent anti-communist. There's the plot right there. Or there's a conspiracy with LBJ and the forces in Texas, and I'm not sure which forces, but something scary.
And it was a bunch of right wingers because Kennedy was going to pull out of Vietnam,
right,
which Kennedy was never going to do. That was just not going to happen. He was sending more people into Vietnam.
Right.
I mean, he's largely responsible for us getting into the quagmire in that respect. Anyway, good reporting. I know you have the Michael Knowles show. It's a little thing you do on the side when you're not doing Another Kingdom, but that's coming out. What are you talking about today?
Pretty soon. So today we're going to be talking all about Bo Bergdahl. We've got some excellent clips of, we've obviously got our Trumpy clips, but then people are forgetting this. It's so easy, just like Benghazi, just like you were talking about. Afterward, it's easy to gloss over everything and forget about the terrible decisions that were made at the time that had real effects. So we're going to talk about how Barack Obama's awful decisions basically compromised the lives of American soldiers, put a lot of enemies back on the battlefield, and because it was intentional.
I always knew you were a racist. So you just don't like him because he was black. All right, Michael Knowles, it's great talking to you. As always, I'll talk to you later.
All right, see ya.
Bye.